Palantir does not partner with drone companies, it partners with platforms. That distinction matters because when Palantir attached its name to a $9 stock almost nobody was following, it was not making a hardware bet. It was signaling something about where defense autonomy is heading and who it thinks is building the infrastructure to get there. Ondas Holdings just reported numbers that are hard to dismiss, and the operating loss that came with them is equally hard to ignore. Both things are true at once. That is where this story starts. Ondas reported first quarter revenue of $50.1 million. 1 year earlier, the same quarter produced $4.3 million. That is not a rounding error. That is a different company. Management followed that number by raising the full-year revenue target to at least $390 million. If they hit it, that is roughly 670% growth from 2025 results. The pro forma backlog reached $457 million, up from $68.3 million at the end of last year. On paper, this looks like a clean breakout. It is not. Ondas is scaling through a combination of organic defense contracts, acquisitions, and platform integration across autonomous systems, counter-drone security, ground robotics, and ISR. That architecture creates upside. It also creates complexity that the headline revenue figure does not fully capture. Investors are not just buying drone revenue, they are buying execution risk at scale. The Palantir partnership is the reason the story became bigger than drones. Ondas Autonomous Systems is using Palantir's Foundry and AIP capabilities to help unify operations, supply chain, production workflows, mission command, and data intelligence across its autonomous systems. That matters because hardware alone is not the prize in defense autonomy. The real value is coordination. A drone that flies is useful. A drone connected to a broader intelligence layer, paired with counter-UAS systems, ground assets, and real-time decision software, is a different product category. This is where Palantir changes the perception of Ondas. It gives the company a software architecture story. It also helps Ondas position itself as part of a larger defense operating system, not just another hardware vendor. That is the bullish case. The revenue growth is impressive. Gross profit reached $24.7 million, and gross margin improved to 49%, up from 35% a year ago. That tells investors something important. Ondas is not only selling more, it is selling a mix of products that can carry stronger margins as volume grows, but the company is still not profitable at the operating level. Operating expenses were $67.3 million in the quarter. Operating loss was $42.7 million. Adjusted EBITDA loss was $10.9 million. Management expects adjusted EBITDA losses to remain elevated in the second quarter, then improve as revenue ramps. So the math is clear. The business is scaling, but the cost structure is scaling with it. Ondas is building manufacturing, field service, supply chain, go-to-market capacity, and acquisition infrastructure before the full revenue base is in place. That can work, but only if orders convert into deliveries, deliveries convert into repeat demand, and integration does not slow the business down. This is where Ondas has an advantage many small defense tech companies do not have. The company ended the quarter with $1.48 billion in cash, cash equivalents, restricted cash, and short-term investments. That gives Ondas room to fund growth, absorb losses, pursue acquisitions, and build production capacity without immediately depending on distressed financing. That cash position matters because the company is moving aggressively. It has added businesses tied to loitering munitions, counter-missile defense, ground systems, ISR, and stratospheric platforms. This is not a single product strategy anymore. It is a roll-up and integration strategy that increases the addressable market. It also raises the complexity. The optimistic version of Ondas is a scaled autonomy platform operating inside a defense market where layered drone systems, counter-UAS infrastructure, and real-time ISR coordination become standard requirements. Drones are no longer experimental defense tools. Counter-drone systems are becoming necessary infrastructure. Border security, airports, military bases, public events, and critical assets all need layered protection. That creates demand. Palantir gives Ondas a stronger data and operating layer. The backlog gives it visibility. The cash gives it time. The cautious version is just as coherent. Revenue grows fast, but integration complexity and inconsistent government procurement cycles keep profitability pushed further out than the 2028 target. The backlog looks strong until a large order slips or a newly acquired business underperforms. The honest position sits between those two. Ondas has the cash, the backlog, and the right partner to make this work. What it does not yet have is proof that all the moving parts integrate cleanly under pressure. That is what to track from here. Backlog conversion rates, gross margin consistency, operating loss trajectory, and whether Palantir's role becomes a real competitive advantage or stays a headline. The market is early, so is Ondas.
Totally de-risk or when it can be prioritized. So I think it's soon when they see adoption, but the timelines have been extended. That had been a real irritant for our investors, because when timelines extend, that means you have more cash burn, and of course that these are part of the legacy issues. What we've been able to do, because we've been getting much higher returns on capital and faster returns on capital with what we're doing in the defense and security businesses we have around our autonomous systems, we've been able to grow that portfolio in the value, the enterprise value there, and of course that's going to be reflected in our revenue growth and gross profits and ultimately profitability. So we become so big that you know I've lowered expectations on Ondas Networks. I've done it deliberately. Because I don't want it to overshadow all the stuff that we're really getting returns on. But let me be clear, this is valuable technology, and this is why I've called it an out of the money call option. We have captured, I believe, for multiple private wireless networks, we have captured the roadmap for all of them, right? So it's a question of when, not if, they're going to upgrade, and it's not a question of what they're going to upgrade on, in my opinion. It's because nobody has a capability to take those narrowband systems and make them wide or even broadbands. Kilobits become megabits. And that's really important and valuable for the railroad customers, because they can put more intelligent applications at the edge. You can start to move trains autonomously. There's all these safety applications. They have ROI. Some of them are regulatorily driven, like end of train, for example. They need to upgrade the networks so they can adopt these data-intensive applications. It's edge compute, it's sensor networks that have extreme value, it's automation tools. So where are we at? It's you know, and why it's not on the money call option, and why it could be, you know, incredibly part of our story as we're moving through 26, even, but you know, certainly into 27, is that we've won the business. The TAMs are in the hundreds of millions of dollars, and the system itself, as we deploy it, can be incredibly profitable. And why is that? Well, you know, the network itself is massive. So I said the TAMs are huge. The margin profile is very attractive, and the operating leverage in that Ondas Networks business would be huge. When we start to see adoption in the railroads, we don't have to build out a sales and marketing infrastructure, right? It's the operating leverage is huge. When revenue, gross profits, we don't have to increase R&D even, right? Really. So we can become a very profitable company at Ondas Networks very quickly, and of course that can be, you know, recognized with market capitalization.